Hey, what's going on guys, Sscope here, and welcome to my review of Boruto Naruto the movie. This is the final movie in the Naruto franchise as of now for I want to say the next 10 years, depending on if Kishimoto comes back and does something kind of like what Toriyama's been doing with Dragon Ball Z. So this is going to be a spoiler-free review. So without spoiling anything, I'm going to try to give you basically what the movie is about. And I'll talk about what things I liked about it, what things I didn't like, and so forth. So the movie revolves around Naruto's son Boruto. It takes place a couple years after the last movie, the last Naruto the movie. So Naruto is Hokage, and he had his son Boruto and his daughter Himawari, and he's married to Hinata. And the story basically revolves around Boruto trying to get acknowledged by his father, because since Naruto became Hokage, he hasn't had a whole lot of time to spend with his family. You know, he's been busy with Hokage stuff like paperwork and all that other stuff. The other piece of the story is a new set of villains that want something. I'm not going to say what that something is, and they will stop at nothing to get that something. Another small piece of the story is the tuning exams, in which Boruto and a bunch of the newer characters participate in. So it's those are the three main parts of the story. But now I'm going to talk about things I liked about the movie. First off, the animation. The animation was on point for this movie. It was the best that the animation's ever going to get for this movie. You know, the fight scenes, all the action sequences were just beautiful, just animated perfectly. And the one thing that this movie really did correctly was that it stuck to how Naruto should be, which is the movie starts off with a bang. Then there's small pieces in between where it's just talking, and then there's more. I guess what I'm trying to say is that the action and the talking was balanced out, unlike the previous movies, where there were maybe 2-3 good action scenes, but there was majority of the movie was talking. Alright, so first off, if you didn't like that in the last that Sasuke didn't have a lot of screen time, then you're gonna be pretty happy, because he gets a lot of screen time in this movie. Naruto and Sasuke both. So it's a huge cover up from the last, because in the last Sasuke only had maybe 5 minutes of screen time, probably not even. Apart from that, there's one line that I really like that Sasuke told Boruto. So without spoiling anything, Boruto and Sasuke are talking, and Boruto asks Sasuke, what are my father's weaknesses? And Sasuke tells Boruto, he's like, well, your father has a lot of weaknesses. You know, he started off as a good for nothing, and he worked his way up and basically went through a lot of shit, and now he's here. So what I'm basically trying to tell you is, don't think of your father as the way he is now. Think of him as he was when he was working his way up to what he is now, basically. And I thought that was probably one of the best lines from this movie, just because it's basically telling Boruto, it's basically telling him, your father went through a lot of shit and now he's here. So don't disrespect him because of what he is now, but respect him for what he did to get to that level. Now I'm going to talk about some of the characters that I really liked in this movie. Obviously Boruto. At first, I thought he was a little bit whiny, just because he kept saying to Naruto, is oh, you're never around, and you better not forget to do this, or you better not forget to show up to this event, or you always say we'll talk later, stuff like that. So at first I thought he was a little bit whiny, but later on it makes sense. You get where he's coming from. The next character I like is Sarada. I'd say she got a good amount of screen time, and if you read Naruto Gaiden, the 10 chapter manga, then you'll understand the character better. Otherwise it'll still make sense, but having a little bit of background after reading that, it'll clear up any confusion you have. The other character that's on Boruto's team is, I think it's Mitsuki, and his parents, I'm not gonna say who they are, but it's a pretty big shocker if you haven't figured it out yet. Mitsuki acts a lot like high in my opinion. Then a lot of the newer characters are introduced during the Chunin exams, like some of the new Cloud Ninja and Shikamaru-san Shikadai. I really liked his character. I feel like the new generation is definitely more fast-paced. They catch on a lot quicker, especially when it comes to like training, like jutsus and stuff. They catch on quicker to that a lot more. Another thing that I liked about this movie, but that felt kind of weird, was the fact that the Naruto universe has like changed completely, because it's no longer like a village. It's more like, I don't want to say a city, more like a town, kind of, because everything's more like futuristic and more modern, trying to lead to today's generation. You know, they have like giant displays in buildings, kind of like Times Square, and then they have computers, they have cell phones. They even have these like little like DS looking things, like PSPs, and like email and internet and all that stuff. And it feels a little bit weird, but at the same time it somewhat makes sense, and I really like that about the movie. You know, it's a lot different from what we're used to, but at the same time it's sticking to the basic fundamentals. Now, the next thing I'm going to mention is only for the sake of this review. It's what I didn't like about the movie. I wouldn't say it's a major issue. It's a small thing that I can live with, but just for the sake of this review, I'm just going to talk about it. Is the pacing in this movie. The pacing was, there's just this one time where the pacing felt like it went by too fast. It was in the I'm not gonna say where, but it was around the beginning of the movie, where it just felt like, okay, the amount of time that this took, it's supposed to take a lot longer. It's not something that really bothers me, but I think it would have been nice if they just balanced it out and maybe kept it going a little bit longer, an extra like 5-10 minutes. I'd be okay with that. And that's the only negative aspect of this movie. But I guess my favorite part from this movie would have to be like the animated fight scenes. They were just beautiful to look at. Animation was on point. Everything just flowed perfectly, and it was something that the previous movies were just lacking. I'm not saying the previous movies didn't have good animation, but this is how Naruto is supposed to be. This is what Shippuden was missing. You know, because Shippuden's like, the fight scenes were cool and all, but they don't have that like feeling like this is Naruto. You know, it just feels like, okay, it's an awesome fight scene, but they don't have that like this is Naruto type of feel. If you know what I'm talking about. Another thing that was cool, I'm not gonna say what it is, but around the end of the movie, or I'd say around like halfway, you just go through that whole like sense of nostalgia, just because this one thing. It just makes you think of the previous generation, the very first part of Naruto, and it's just like, look how far we've come from there to now. And that was just beautiful. So that's basically my review of Boruto Naruto the movie. If you enjoyed my review, or have seen the movie and just love the movie, or love Naruto in general, just hit that like button. If you want to talk to me more about the movie, then leave a comment down below. And if you're new here, subscribe, and you can see more videos like this and other videos related to gaming, anime. I'll see you guys next time.